Good morning, grade 10s, and welcome to predictions, where we're going to look at what is the possibility of something happening or occurring by writing down all the possible outcomes that you can get. So, we're going to start with the two-way tables. Two-way tables normally have only two things happening. It can't be more than two because then we'll have to use a tree diagram, which we will discuss after this. So first of all, we're going to look at the two-way table. And how do we draw a two-way table? By representing if we are tossing two coins. Okay, so first of all, we're going to have a look at the two coins. Let me get my laser pointer here. And you want to write down all the possible outcomes that you can get with coin number 1. So you're going to list them at the bottom here. When you toss a coin, it can either land on heads or tails. Next to that, on the left-hand side, you're going to write the second thing happening, coin number 2. And you're going to write the possible outcomes for coin number 2 can also be a heads or a tail. Okay, then you're going to draw a little block around it so that you form a little table, and then you can start by filling in all the possible outcomes. By looking at the top, you can say heads and heads. That is the one possible outcome of throwing two coins. It can either land on a heads first, followed by a heads second, or it can land on a heads first and then a tail. Or it can be a tail first and then a head, or a tail and a tail. Okay, normally I start from the top here. I see I started from the side, which actually doesn't matter because the two coins are the same. But you'll see with the next ones, we normally start with the first thing happening first. Coin number 1, you say heads, heads, tail, heads, heads, tails, tail, tail. Okay, but for this, luckily it didn't matter because they were both the same with the same outcomes. Okay, how do we ask, or then the second thing that you always have to ask yourself is how many outcomes are there altogether? Okay, so this one is very easy. You can count 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 possible outcomes. But if you had to work it out without drawing it up the whole time, you always say, how many possible outcomes does coin number 1 have? It's got 2. And how many possible outcomes does coin number 2 have? Also 2. And you always multiply them together. So 2 times 2 is 4 outcomes altogether. Okay, then we can ask you questions on this this two-way table that you've drawn. Like number A, what is the probability of throwing a heads followed by a tail? So then you just have to go and look, where's a heads followed by a, not a heads followed by a tail. There's one. Okay, and then what is that? So there's only one where there's a heads first and then a tails. Nowhere else can you see that. So it's 1 out of 4. Number B, what is the probability of throwing a double heads or tail? Okay, a double heads or a double tail. So there's 1, 2 out of the 4. 2 out of 4. And sorry, I had to simplify that actually is equal to a half. We always simplify our fractions, what we get. Okay, so please always write it in the simplified form. And that is it. So please, can I ask you to go and draw this in your book and write A and B, do the question and also the answer. And that is it for today. I hope you have a wonderful day further. Thanks. Bye.